Okay, today is November the 16th, 1 week before Thanksgiving. All right. Hey, you guys will have a project this week. It will be over infectious disease. Please make sure you read it to its entirety so you don't leave out any details. It's fairly easy, but it is really detailed. So you need to read that carefully, and maybe some of you read it more than once. All right. So infectious diseases. Identify the causes of infectious diseases. Describe 4 ways in which infectious disease are spread. Okay. Myths. There isn't much a person can do to avoid spreading or catching a cold or flu. Is that a myth or is that the truth? It is a myth or it's not a myth? There isn't much a person can do to avoid spreading or catching the cold or flu. Myth, right? Because you can always do what? What do we always preach? Period. Since the beginning of time. Washing your hands. Okay? Washing your hands is the most, because we do so much with our hands, okay? We eat. I know that I've been guilty of, I'm really busy in the evening. Some people don't know, but I see patients in the evening, patients who have spina bifida, patients who have ALS and things of that nature. And I'm mindful of it now, a lot dealing with patients, but sometimes I get away from it. I'll get out and I'll do something. And since coronavirus, I've been a lot more mindful. But before, I'd get out and I'll do something, and I'll jump back in, and I may have a bag of chips or something in the seat. And so I'll forget, and I'll just grab 2 or 3 chips and I'll put them in. That is how you transfer viruses and bacteria to yourself. Okay, you'll get it later when you become an adult. It's just so busy. You just have a hard time sometimes keeping up with the small things, which should be big things. Okay? All right. Fact. About 80% of infectious diseases are spread by hand contact. There it is. By hand contact. Okay? It's really important that you wash your hands. If you are so lucky to go to school and graduate in some type of health care field, washing your hands will be paramount in the hospital. There's so many things you can get with not washing your hands. And even though you glove up before you go into a room, it is recommended that you still wash your hands when you enter the room and after you enter the room. Now, we do have hand sanitizer that is on the wall like these right here. So some people use hand sanitizer when they're moving really quickly, but we only use hand sanitizer 2 or 3 times, and then we wash our hands. Okay, so it's kind of like every other room you can use you can avoid washing your hands every other room. But do you think most teens wash their hands much as they should? What do you think are some ways to encourage more frequent hand washing? Do you think teens wash their hands? Do you see them wash hands in the bathroom? I see people go in the bathroom all the time. Go in the bathroom, don't wash your hands. This, that, and third. Because you what? Because you see them, right? Yeah, it's people don't. I mean, it's just it's just the way people are. It's just like coronavirus. We can try and tell people to wear masks or do this or do that, but people at the end of the day, people are going to do what is most convenient for them sometimes, and sometimes it's just not doing what's right. So. Until we get some kind of vaccine, we're going to constantly deal with this, okay? Causes of infections, also known as communicable diseases. Put a pin in that. Communicable diseases. Infectious diseases are caused by organisms or viruses that enter and multiply within the human body, okay? There's things that enter. Again, me putting my hands in the chips. That's how the germ that I got from wherever entered the body. I had my hands on the chips. I ate the chips. That's how I got in. Most of the time, that's how the transfer happens. Okay? That's how the transfer happens. Microorganisms are organisms that can be seen only through a microscope. Okay, so microorganisms. If again you are so lucky as to become a health science or a healthcare professional, you will take a class called microbiology. All right, microbiology is a really eye-opening class that really hones in on where germs come from and how you can get them and how small they are. Germs are really small. They really can get in the body and affect you in really, really, really minuscule ways. So once you take that class, you'll understand. I can sit here and explain it to you, but only until you take that class are you going to really have an appreciation and a respect for small microorganisms that can enter the body. Okay? All right? Microorganisms and viruses that cause disease are called pathogens. They're called pathogens. Okay? Pathogens. We got microorganisms, we have pathogens, we have infectious diseases that encompass those two. Okay? Microorganisms and viruses that cause diseases. Okay? I'm going to move on because we have to kind of do these in segments, 15 minutes. So, pathogens can cause an infectious disease when they enter into your body and multiply. Bacteria are simple, single-celled organisms. Bacteria live in air, soil, food, and on the bodies of plants and animals, including you. Okay? Again, I think I've told you guys a story about the project that we did about the agar plates and the microorganisms that fall out of the air. We had one sample of an agar plate that was outside. We held it in the air for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, then we closed it. We had one we did the same way inside. And then we had one we did on the stairwell, the rail of the stairwell, and smeared it on there. And once we put it in the incubator and let it grow, the microorganisms from the outside was almost the same as the microorganisms that we got from the stairwell, the rail. Okay? So it's everywhere. It falls on your skin. Bacteria falls on your skin, everywhere. Okay? So you just have to be mindful of those things. All right? All right. Bacteria live in air, food, soil. All right. So food. Anybody ever go to the store, right? And your mom or your parents buy some grapes, and you ain't paid for the grapes yet, and you eat one or two of the grapes, right? Or eat, I don't know what is it, grapes or blackberries or whatever it is you like to eat. Huh? Well, I mean, there's a whole thing of grapes. Most people have done it. They have a whole thing of grapes in the basket. They're at the top of the basket. You might get one and eat it just while you're walking, right, Regains? But there is a certain amount of bacteria on those grapes. So you really need to go home and wash your grapes and stuff off with water really well, okay? Because there's things that come from the soil that get on the grapes. Grapes are outside, right? They're on the vine. Wind blows. What is the wind blowing? The wind's blowing what? Dust. Where does the dust come from? The ground. Bacteria is on the ground, gets on the things, and they've kind of done a decent job of washing them while they're in the, while they're sitting there displayed for you to grab and pick that you want to buy. But it's not the same as you washing them home and you're washing them really well. If you have some type of stuff you can buy that you wash your fruit with, I would encourage you to do that. All right? It's just the way it goes, just the way the world is. Some bacteria injure cells by giving off poisons, toxins. Okay? The smallest pathogens are viruses. Okay? Viruses, common colds, hepatitis, chickenpox, measles, mononucleosis. Mononucleosis is something you can get from kissing a partner. Okay? Really transferable. Mumps, polio, rabies, rubella, and West Nile virus. And ultimately, the flu. Okay? Coronavirus is one of those things that goes in. It's a small pathogen and viruses, and it goes in and destroys cells. Okay? It goes in and changes things. So if you're having those underlying symptoms, as some of the people have that are dying, or most of them have that are dying, it's really a bad situation that you're fighting the disease you already have, and then another disease is coming in, destroying cells or destroying alveoli that are in your lungs or preventing you from breathing. Okay, so those things that you have to be mindful of. A virus can multiply only after entering a living cell. Okay, so coronavirus has to have a host. It has to have a host to multiply or to keep being transferred. You, my good sir, are the host. Okay? Viruses then take over the cell's reproductive mechanism, resulting in a cell damage or death. Sorry. Okay? Yes. Yes. Viruses are living things. It has to be, because it has to have a host. I got to get somewhere to feed off of the warmth, the moisture, all those things that encompass something living. Okay, you gotta have it. Okay. What? You don't think it is? It's got to have a host. So if something's got to have a host, that means it's being powered by something, right? It's got to be powered by something. All right. So in your project, you may want to use that as your project topic. Is a virus a living thing, and why? That might be, you want to be one of your topics. Okay. All right. Organisms such as yeast, molds, and mushrooms are known as fungi. Okay. Known as fungi. Fungi grows best in warm, dark, moist areas. Okay. Warm, dark, moist areas. The reason people have athlete's foot is because when you take a shower and you don't dry off your feet really thoroughly, and I used to have a bad habit of that. In football, you're trying to get finished, or you're trying to get home. Maybe in basketball too. You just want to get home. You just want to get out of your stuff and get home. So you take a shower. We take a shower, and then we put our socks on. Well, when we put our socks on, if we don't dry off really well, what do you got? Warmth from your body, which is what? 98.6 degrees. So you have the warmth, and it's inside your shoe, and it's summertime, so now it's probably hotter than 98.6 in your shoe, right? And it's dark. Is it dark inside your shoe? Yeah. So is it moist area? Yeah, it's moist because you've left the water on your shoe. That's the same way for women. Areas that you have to be mindful and be dry and be cautious of, because that is a warm, dark, moist area. It's going to attract different things, and different things are going to be able to grow, okay, because of those elements, those three elements, all right? All right, protozoans, all right, single-celled organisms that are much larger and more complex than bacteria, known as protozoans, okay? Malaria, again, I don't even know what this is. I copied it, and I don't even know what that is. All right, and African sleeping sickness. Okay, African sleeping sickness. I don't know a lot about that, but I did watch something on it one time. It was interesting. You might want to look it up. I mean, it's interesting to watch, but I didn't really get a lot of it. Protozoans is not something I'm going to harp on too much. Protozoans have the ability to move through fluids